The American FBI and the CIA have been connected to countless rumors, mysteries, and alleged secrets over the years. Some became public, others turned into legends. Today, we're exploring three of the most mysterious fictional cases we've ever created: an abandoned castle hiding the legendary Anaconda dragon, the Forgotten Sun Castle, and the Mermaid Castle, which remains one of the most mysterious places in history. These are stories inspired by mystery and imagination, brought to life through cinematic restorations. Let's uncover the top 3 USA secrets. Number 3. The Mysterious Mermaid Castle. The FBI tried to erase this castle from history. They sealed the island. They removed it from official maps, and for nearly 60 years, no one was allowed to enter. According to the legend, hidden inside these walls was the Mermaid Queen, a mysterious ruler whose voice could hypnotize anyone who heard it. People who sailed too close to the island were said to disappear without a trace. No one knew if the stories were true, until our restoration team became the first people in decades to unlock the gates of the abandoned Mermaid Castle. What we found inside changed everything. Long before the castle was abandoned, a legend surrounded the island. According to forgotten journals, in 1965, a mysterious group of women was seen living inside the castle. Villagers believed they were mermaids, not because they had tails, but because they were said to possess an eerie gift. Their voices could hypnotize anyone who heard them. Fishermen claimed they would follow the sound into the sea without realizing it, and never return. No bodies were ever found. As the disappearances grew, fear spread across the coastline, and the castle earned a reputation that would last for generations. As reports of disappearances increased, the story reached government investigators. According to the legend, officials arrived on the island to inspect the castle, but what they found was never made public. Within days, the island was closed to visitors. Warning signs appeared along the shoreline, boats were ordered to stay away, and every official record mentioning the castle seemed to disappear. For nearly 60 years, no one entered the Mermaid Castle again. For decades, the castle remained untouched. Storm after storm battered its walls. Salt water flooded the lower chambers. Nature slowly reclaimed every room, every hallway, and every tower. Most people believed the legend had died with time. But when our restoration team finally received permission to enter the island, they weren't searching for treasure. They wanted to uncover the truth. What they found inside wasn't just an abandoned castle. The restoration began outside. Workers cleared away decades of vines, fallen trees, and collapsed stone. As the castle slowly emerged, details hidden for generations came back into view. Then they noticed something unusual. Carved into the walls were hundreds of mermaid symbols, each pointing toward the center of the castle, as if they were guiding visitors to a single place. No historical records mentioned these carvings. The deeper the team looked, the more it seemed the castle hadn't been built to keep people out. It had been built to keep something in. As work moved inside, every room revealed another piece of the mystery. Layers of dust covered elegant halls, broken chandeliers hung from the ceilings, and faded murals of mermaids stretched across the walls. Then, beneath the cracked marble floor, the crew uncovered a hidden stone staircase leading deep below the castle. Cold air rushed upward from the darkness. No blueprints showed this passage. No records mentioned what lay beneath. But every ancient carving they had found pointed directly toward it, as if the castle had been hiding its greatest secret underground all along. At the bottom of the staircase, the team entered a massive underground chamber, unlike anything they had expected. Seawater covered the floor, ancient stone pillars rose from the darkness, and enormous mermaid carvings lined the walls, untouched for decades. In the center of the chamber stood a sealed stone doorway. The strange part wasn't the door itself, it was that there were no hinges, no handle, and no way to open it from the outside. According to the legend, they built it to imprison the Mermaid Queen and whatever power still waited behind that stone door. The restoration team spent days removing debris and draining the underground chamber. As the water level dropped, ancient symbols began to appear across the stone floor, forming a perfect circle around the sealed doorway. One by one, the markings matched the forgotten sketches found in the old journals. According to the legend, this wasn't a prison. It was a seal. Then, without warning, a section of the ancient stone mechanism shifted on its own. For the first time in nearly 60 years, the hidden chamber slowly began to open. Behind the ancient doorway was a throne room unlike anything the team had imagined. The walls shimmered with blue crystal. It looked untouched by time. The Mermaid Castle has finally been restored. Its halls are no longer abandoned. Its hidden chambers have been uncovered, and one of history's greatest legends has been brought back to life. But one question still remains. If the legend was only a story, then who left the throne room exactly as if someone had just walked away? No one has an answer. Maybe it was nothing. Or maybe some mysteries were never meant to be solved, and somewhere in the world, another forgotten place is still waiting to be discovered. We'll be there to uncover its secrets. Until the next restoration, not every legend should be awakened. Number 2. The Sun Castle. Deep in a remote mountain region, far away from any known civilization, there exists a structure that does not appear on modern maps. It is called the Sun Castle. No one knows who built it or when it was created. Even the oldest records only mention it as the place that should not be opened. For centuries, travelers and explorers avoided this area, reporting strange silence around the structure and unusual changes in light near its walls. Because of this, the location was eventually marked as restricted territory, and over time the castle was forgotten by the world. For 28 years, the FBI and CIA controlled one of the most secret locations on Earth, the Sun Castle. Officially, it does not exist. In classified records, it is listed as a non-operational anomaly site. No images were ever released. No missions were ever acknowledged.
The prophecy is
But in
true.
reality, it is one of the most mysterious places in the world. But inside, leaked intelligence fragments, one order appears repeatedly. Contain the site. No public access under any condition. For 28 years, the castle remained sealed. Until now, it has been rediscovered. When the Sun Castle was discovered 28 years ago, the first teams expected to find an ancient ruin. Instead, they found something impossible. A massive castle standing untouched by time. The stone walls were still strong. The halls were still preserved. Ancient symbol covered every room, but the deeper they explored, the stranger it became. Every chamber contained the same warning carved into the walls, a message about a guardian connected to the sun. The investigators never revealed what they found inside. Shortly after, the castle was sealed, and the world forgot it existed. After the castle was sealed, nobody was allowed to enter for 28 years. But before it disappeared from the world, the first investigation teams explored the inside. They found enormous empty halls, ancient rooms, and a strange temple hidden deep within the castle. The walls were covered with carvings showing a giant figure surrounded by sunlight. Every room seemed built around one purpose: to protect something. The deeper they went, the more they realized this was not just an old castle. It was built for a secret that humanity was never meant to discover. Inside the deepest halls of the Sun Castle, investigators found something that changed everything. Ancient writings covered the walls. They described a powerful being known as the Son of the Sun. The carving showed a giant figure standing beneath the sun, surrounded by people who protected him. But the message was not a worship. It was a warning. The ancient people believed that if the Son of the Sun ever became angry, the balance of the world would break. And the first thing to disappear would be the sun itself. The ancient writings revealed more about the creature inside the Sun Castle. They called him the Son of the Sun, a being described as 3 meters tall, with a body that shined like daylight and eyes as white as the stars. The people of the castle did not see him as a monster. They believed he was a guardian, a force powerful enough to protect the world from what was hidden beneath the castle. But the final pages of the records contained one terrifying message. The Guardian's power was also the greatest danger. The ancient people believed the Son of the Sun was connected to the light above them. His energy was said to come from the sun itself. As long as he remained calm, the world stayed in balance. The castle's people built their entire civilization around protecting the Guardian and keeping the ancient rules. No one was allowed to enter his chamber without permission. No one was allowed to disturb his rest, because the legend said one moment of anger from the Son of the Sun could turn daylight into darkness. For centuries, the Sun Castle remained hidden from the outside world. The people inside continued their duty, protecting the ancient guardian and keeping the old secrets alive. But one day, everything changed. The castle became silent. The lights in the halls disappeared. The doors to the deepest chambers were closed. When outsiders finally discovered the location, they found no explanation for what happened. Only empty rooms, ancient warnings, and a mystery left behind. The Son of the Sun was no longer seen. When the hidden castle was finally investigated, the authorities realized they were not looking at an ordinary ancient site. The deeper they explored, the more questions appeared. Why was the castle built around one chamber? Why did every warning describe the same guardian? And why were the final records incomplete? The area was declared restricted. The entrances were sealed. For 28 years, the Sun Castle remained untouched, hidden from the world. But legends do not disappear forever. They wait to be discovered again. Longer scene. Deep inside the lowest section of the Sun Castle, restoration teams finally reached the sealed worship. After 28 years of silence, the Sun Castle was finally discovered again. The gates that had remained closed for decades were opened once more. Inside, explorers found the same ancient halls, the same carvings, and the same warnings left by the people who lived there. But one thing was missing. The chamber of the Son of the Sun was empty. No guardian. No explanation. Only a final message carved into the stone. The light remains only while the Guardian watches. And for the first time, people began to wonder, was the castle protecting the world, or was it hiding the truth? When the final restoration of the Sun Castle was completed, scientists immediately noticed something impossible. All solar monitoring systems across the world started showing abnormal activity. The sun itself was unstable. Spikes of energy, sudden fluctuations, unexplained darkening patterns. It was as if something was reacting from inside the sun. And then the data became clear. There was only one explanation. The Son of the Sun is back, and he is angry. Number 1. Hidden Anaconda Dragon Castle. In ancient times, deep in the Amazon lake region, there was something the world was never meant to find. A place hidden from maps, erased from history. A castle built around an ancient force. A castle built for one creature. The people who lived there spoke of a creature that protected the balance of the world. A serpent, larger than any known beast. They called it the Anaconda Dragon. They prayed to Anaconda Dragon. But what the outside world called legend was something far more real than anyone imagined. The castle was not built to worship fear. It was built to contain understanding. Within its stone walls, the ancient people lived alongside the legend of the Anaconda Dragon. They believed it was not a beast of destruction, but a guardian of hidden realms beneath the earth, but no one believed them and called them sectarians. Deep below the surface, vast dungeon systems existed, older than the castle itself, and something inside those depths was moving again, something that had never been meant to rise. The Anaconda Dragon was said to descend into the deepest waters of the Amazon lake, where light could not reach. Everybody knew a legend about the Anaconda Dragon, but nobody believed expect for ancient people. The ancient people believed it was sealing the entrances to underground dungeons, keeping the surface world safe from what lived below. But outsiders saw only the surface of the story. To them, anything that large, anything that powerful, had to be a threat. Fear began to spread beyond the castle walls. As fear spread, distant forces began to take interest in the castle's existence. Secret organizations of USA studied old records, fragmented maps, and forbidden accounts of the Anaconda Dragon. They could not accept the idea of a guardian protecting humanity from unseen depths. They just didn't believe it. Didn't believe that something like dragon can save world to them. Only one explanation made sense. It was a weapon, or a danger that had to be removed. And so, the story began to change in the shadows. A decision was made in silence. No records were officially written. No public explanation was ever given. But the castle became a target. Operations were planned to isolate the region, erase access routes, and remove all evidence of what existed there. Special forces and intelligence units moved in the dark, guided by fear more than understanding. The Anaconda Dragon was no longer seen as legend. It was classified as a threat that could not be allowed to remain. And so, the operation did not just aim to stop a creature. It aimed to erase an entire truth from history. The operation was completed in silence. No announcement was made. No proof was left behind. The castle was sealed off from maps, from memory, and from public record. Entire regions were redrawn. Travel routes were changed. Even local witnesses began to forget what they had seen, as if the place itself had been erased from human awareness. What remained were only fragments, distorted stories, broken references, and vanished coordinates that led nowhere. Over time, people stopped asking questions, because there was nothing official left to question. But deep beneath that silence, the truth was not destroyed. It was only buried deeper than before, waiting for the moment it would be remembered again. Years later, something changed. The silence around the castle did not remain permanent. Explorers, historians, and reconstruction teams began to uncover what had been erased. Layer by layer, stone by stone, At first, it was just ruins and fragmented structures. But the deeper they went, the more the truth began to return. The castle was not abandoned. It had been hidden. And so the restoration began. Not to rebuild a myth, but to restore a forgotten responsibility. As the walls rose again and the halls were repaired, something unexpected happened. The truth that was buried did not feel like a relic of the past. It felt like a warning returning to life. Now the castle stands restored once again. What was once abandoned, erased, and forgotten has been brought back to life stone by stone. The broken walls have been rebuilt with precision, respecting the original ancient architecture. The first floor, once filled with dust and silence, now shines with polished marble, restored pillars, and renewed royal halls. The second floor, hidden for years in decay, has been reopened, its corridors repaired, its chambers revived, and its structure strengthened as if time never truly destroyed it. The library has returned to life, with shelves filled once again, carrying the knowledge of those who came outside. The courtyard has been transformed into a living royal space, with gardens, stone paths, and restored monuments reflecting light from within. And yet, the most powerful change is not what can be seen. It is what has been remembered. This castle was never just a structure, it was a legacy. And now, it lives again. Life moves through its halls again, slow and steady, like it was never lost. On the first floor, people gather in the grand hall, walking across polished stone, speaking softly beneath the high arches. Light reflects from the marble floor as daily life returns to a place once forgotten. In the library, scholars and residents organize ancient books, reading and restoring knowledge that was nearly erased by time. Pages turn again. History breathes again.
I wanted you to see the
On the second floor, the corridors are
stunning.
active
They have done
with movement.
remarkable work on the
Doors
restoration.
opening, rooms
We gather
being
in the
used,
light of the
windows
eternal
glowing
flame.
with warm light as people return
We
to
offer our
spaces
devotion to the
that
great
once stood
Anaconda
empty.
dragon.
And deep within it, the symbol of the Anaconda dragon remains preserved. The castle stands whole again. The halls are filled with light. Life has returned just as it was meant to be. People walk its corridors, unaware of how much time it's spent erased from the world, but something remains unsettled beneath the surface. The Anaconda dragon was never just history, and the truth was never fully contained. And slowly, a thought begins to spread. What if the story didn't end with restoration? What if it continued inside the world itself? Because by the time you ask that question, it may already be too late. We've uncovered forgotten castles, abandoned houses, and legends that refuse to disappear. Whether these stories are myth, mystery, or something in between, that's for you to decide. If you enjoyed this journey through our top 3 FBI secrets, let us know which story was your favorite: the Anaconda Dragon Castle, the Sun Castle, or the mysterious Sect's forest house. There are still many more forgotten places waiting to be restored, and many more legends waiting to be told. Subscribe so you don't miss the next mystery. Until next time, stay curious,